name is Routson, and I'm best known as the Beer Wench on the internet. My website is drinkwiththewench.com.
And tell me, that's a very unique name,
yes.
And I've heard it around a lot, so I assume it's popular. Well, how did it kind of, how did it come about? How did you become the Beer Wench, and what made you want to start a beer website?
Long story short, I was managing a restaurant in Columbus, Ohio, and they put me in charge of the beverage program because I was studying for my sommelier. I'm a wine geek, and then I left that job to go to a marketing company who taught me how to brand myself, well, how to brand things, and then I felt out of touch from the restaurant industry. It was my main passion was studying wine, studying beer, and I didn't want to leave that. And so I started a website, a blog about beer in order to remain in touch with the local community about beer. Started running beer events that, so I did brand myself originally as the Beer Wench because it took me about like a couple hours one night. I sat down, I had to figure out what I wanted to be because before I started a blog, I wanted to have a persona and I wanted to have a theme or like something to follow. And then, I don't know, so then I just took off, started talking about beer and organizing events, and then I ended up moving a bunch, and I've moved all around the country, and I travel a lot, and it just stuck.
Cool, so what made you want to come to Canfest?
Oh God, really? Well, number one, it was Buckbean Brewing Company. They have been really awesome people to be in contact with. They have a phenomenal product, but they're also really into social media, and that's where, because you were saying like that you had heard a lot of people talk about me. The only reason why I've ever become a name that somebody knows, or like, I wouldn't call myself a celebrity or anything like that, but people know me because of the internet, because of social media, because I'm so salient on Twitter and Facebook and all these different applications, and I'm very active in the community, and so Buckbean recognized that, and they interacted with me, they engaged me, and the number one lesson in social media is engagement is the bottom. You know, like, if there is any purpose of social media, it's to engage people. It's not to sell, it's not to market, it's to engage. And so they were one of the only companies in the beer industry to actually talk to me as people. And then so they contacted me, sent me samples. So it's just an organic process where when this came up and it wasn't available, and they invited me to come out here, I was like, well, of course, you know, like, you guys, you're close enough to drive. It's only a 4-hour drive from Northern California. And then, you know, they put me up actually in this resort hotel in the Grand Sierra Resort. So my room is pimp, by the way, super pimp. I know, seriously. I was like, really? You know, like, all I do is write about beer on the internet, and you're like, yeah. So no, I was very humble and honored that they would offer me such a awesome experience, and so I'm just enjoying beer. It's my thing, you know, and so it's really cool because a lot of the brewers and the brewmasters that are around here, I actually already know, and so, you know, it's really cool.
So, since it is Canfest, I have to ask, why cans? In your opinion, not the usual stuff. Yeah.
No, I dig it. You know, it's the same thing, because I told you my wine background. You know, cork versus screw cap, and it's way more environmental. It makes more sense to put beer in cans, you know, and I totally support the whole entire movement. I do understand, because I have a psychology degree, the background of the misperception of canned beer equals frat boys and drunk people and crazy parties and all that sort of stuff, and a classy beer can be served in a can, you know. But I really think that the craft beer industry as a whole is just moving so far forward that most people are willing to acknowledge cans as part of just this new trend of the craft beers, you know, as opposed to their, what, canned beer? It's like, oh, canned craft beer. So it's just another craft beer on the shelf, I guess. And it happens to be really cool for outdoor activities like canoeing and hiking, like both things I like to do a lot, and you don't want to have a lot of weight on, carry a lot of things. And anywhere you go, if you're a hiker or whatever, it's always carry in, carry out. And so you're always going to carry in a heavy pack, but at the same time, like, bottles are a bitch see, I said a bad word, a bitch to carry out, but like being crushed cans, you know, condensed space, it really makes a difference. But because I'm a craft beer, I don't want to say snob, but like connoisseur, you know, and I do not settle for like the lowest common denominator beer. I only drink craft beer, and for me to have options and phenomenal options in cans makes my life a lot easier.
Great, and what is your favorite beer that you've tried so far at this event?
You know, it's funny. I did this on purpose because I knew you were going to ask this. But usually the hardest question you can ask a craft beer geek, I guess, is what's your favorite beer? And it's like, the one in my glass is the best answer. And the one in my glass happened to be the one that I purposely got so that I could say this answer. And then I could say with, I guess, with honesty, but it's the Tall Grass from Manhattan, Kansas. And it's the one that just won actually a gold in the Canfest. And it's so weird because I'm blanking out and I don't remember the name of it. I'm staring at it right now. But it's really good. It's got 3 hops in it. It's pretty tasty. It's like 90 IBU, which is really, really intense for a canned beer. So I like it.
Great. And anything else you want to add about beer in general, Canfest? Anything else you want to get out there?
Dude, this place is awesome. Like, you know, it's different from most beer festivals because, and this is what I really like about it. Honestly, I go to a lot of festivals, and it's a lot of beer geeks, and it's a lot of beer industry people, and you see the same people. And this is the first festival that it's like normal people. And you want to see that. You want to see normal people get integrated into the craft beer industry because it's not an exclusive club where nobody can join it, you know? It's like we're constantly trying to defy like the limits or, defy the expectations of the consumer. Like beer equals this. No. Beer can be all of these things, you know? And things like this that are affordable and more approachable. People come out and for the first time they're tasting beers that they never thought, you know, existed. They never knew existed, like different styles of beers. And so I'm really impressed by the I don't even know what you say, like the street clothes people, you know, the ones that aren't in the industry that are out. So I don't know, it's really impressive.
That's great. And the only other thing I want to get is tell me what's on your website and why should somebody go to it? Plug yourself.
Oh, okay. Plug myself. God. All right. So the thing about me is that I'm a different blogger than most bloggers. I don't believe in reviewing and rating beer because I'm against it. I do believe in evaluation. There are scientific and flavor profiles and everything that you can do. I do not believe in rating beer because I don't believe in anything negative. I don't believe in writing anything negative because no matter what, the industry is a family, right? It's a craft beer like industry, you know, and you cannot ever write anything bad about another company or bring them down. And so I steer away from that. I'm more of a promoter. I talk a lot about events. I promote fellow bloggers. My claim to fame, I guess, when I started becoming more and more well-known was I started a beer blogger interview series, and I've interviewed over 100 bloggers. There's only 500 bloggers in the United States, and I've interviewed about probably 150 of them right now. And I mean, hey, if you're a beer blogger and you want to interview, let me know. Because I do believe it's the stories and it's the experience. And so my thing is, if I go to a beer dinner, I write a story about my beer dinner, you know. I like to be fun. The best post I ever wrote was recently for the Great American Beer Festival because they have the awards ceremony. And as a kid who was an athlete my whole life, you always have the award ceremony, you know, like the trophies, the MVP and everything. But afterwards, you have the spoof awards. And so I gave out my own spoof awards to the beer industry, like based on how I interacted with everyone. And it was just like, it was a hit. It was a hoot. But that's like how I am. It's just, I don't know how to explain it. My blog itself is one of many tools that I use to advocate and evangelize craft beer. Twitter is another one, and Facebook is another one. So the 3 platforms combined really is how I expose myself and how I try to advance the industry. I mean, pretty much my goal is just to be an evangelist and to speak the gospel of craft beer, if you will. And yeah, so my website is just one tool, and it's not really a themed one. It's not an end-all, be-all place. I'm a fairly decent writer, but I don't really rely a lot on my website. I rely on human interaction with internet interaction and a combination of relationship building, storytelling. I'm a storyteller. There, that's the bottom line. Moral of the story, I like telling stories. So.